Hi, this is Emma from Unique Phoenix. How are you? It has been a little while since I have done a video, and I'm going to come in a really vulnerable state. In my post earlier this week, I talked about anger. I'm already starting to do my little uncomfortable quirks that I have, and as we all have when we get a little bit uncomfortable, and talk to you about anger. I want to share a little bit of my story with you. Now, I want to be upfront and say I am going to use words like trauma and childhood. So please, if this is a trigger for you, I absolutely with love understand that you need to turn off right now. If it is a trigger for you, however, you understand what it is, and perhaps this might resonate with you, then I welcome you to stay with me now. It's not easy having to say, I have been an angry person in the past. When I watched a movie once, and The Avengers, and it had Hulk in there, and he talked about, it was almost like, they said, how do you just get that there, like the anger? It's like, it's always there. And in that moment, I thought, wow, that actually really resonates with me. Mine did for a long, long time. And it was almost like this little, just a little baseline like this, just under the surface. It didn't take me much to, get really annoyed, go from 0 to 300. And, and sometimes, I'd feel like I was having out-of-body experiences, thinking, who's this person? Who is this person? And why is she so angry about this? Well, childhood trauma, any kind of trauma, particularly when it removes a sense of freedom from you, that annihilates your health and well-being. It takes away that sense of love and ownership of your body. That can really get you fucking pissed off. So part of that trauma for me was then when I did actually understand what happened to me. I was very young, and as I grew up, I started to understand what had happened, and then I tried to share it with people, and I got shut down. I was told it wasn't true. I even once was told that I was told that I was simply just trying to get attention, and it wasn't okay for me to do that. I also was told I couldn't prove it, so there, pretty much. I'm laughing, but I've gone to the depths of my darkest parts of my soul. I said it to a friend recently, I've gone deep into the caves and where there is no light, and I have found a match and struck it on the wall and just had the dimmest bit of light to find my way through that, and to really bring those parts of me to the surface. It took some time. It definitely took some time, and it didn't happen in a snap. And I wasn't asking any questions. I stopped asking questions because anytime I spoke about it, shut down. And even when my story was heard, I wasn't speaking the whole story. I was telling this surface level because I could only tell surface level. So then more of those messages came at me, don't share your story, Em. It's not about you. I'm fully aware it's not always about me. I in no way am I saying any of this was done with the worst intentions. It was all done with the best intentions to protect themselves, to try and protect me, and because obviously in their mind, they didn't believe, they wanted to believe that this had happened. So, why would you want to believe that this had happened to someone so young and, experience that kind of trauma? So I was angry, like fucking angry. Not only had I had this experience, but I was also told continually that it wasn't true. Shh. Yeah? Quiet your voice. And, then when I would share stories of my life, I was then told, you've just got to listen to other people. So, wasn't feeling seen, wasn't feeling heard, and definitely was not feeling myself. But am I grateful for those lessons? Yeah. Because what it's done for me is allowed me the space to ask the questions. Yeah, and to continually ask the questions. So that's really what anger is about, my friends. Anger is about asking questions. Because I was so confused. I didn't understand. I didn't understand, one, why it actually happened to me in the first place. For a long time, I thought it must have been something that I did. What did I do as a kid? Yeah? And I got lots of stories of, you were so cute as a kid, and you'd bat these eyes, so charming. And in my brain, I thought that's what I did wrong. I somehow asked for this. Nobody asked for this. And then obviously told, no, it didn't happen. So no wonder I was fucking pissed off. But again, I actually didn't know where all that anger came from, because I did the counselling. I went through a lot of counselling as I was a kid. And not about that though. Funny enough, I didn't talk about that, because being told wasn't true. I went, oh, well, it must be true. But not talk about it. And, kept going. So, it took me a long time to find my voice. And it took me a long time to find my voice in anger. That was the other thing. The messaging was, I wasn't allowed to be angry. I was allowed to feel ashamed, but wasn't allowed to be angry. No. So, what did I have to be angry about? Well, when you experience trauma, or you're silenced and you don't feel heard or seen, why wouldn't that piss you off? Just as much as it would shrink you, it would also really piss you off. And it pissed me off too. So I definitely had to do some work around finding my voice and finding my way through anger, and understanding that it's a beautiful emotion, that there are such positives. And anger doesn't have to be this rage, which I put my hand up and say I absolutely went through that. I went through all of that. And this seething that sat there, I had to let go of that. But the only way I could let go of it was, like I said, going into the darkest parts of me, owning the shit out of them, and actually being vulnerable through them. Yeah. There's been some excellent times. So, what is the purpose of anger? Well, that's, definitely a larger conversation, but I wanted to start with that little scratching of the surface around asking questions. So when you're angry, we can fly off the handle and shoot our opinion at someone and, get really frustrated with them because they're not seeing it from our perspective. And have I been there? Have I absolutely been there? And of course I would have been there, because no one was taking the time as a kid to see it from my perspective. I wasn't a bad kid. I didn't actually have behavioural issues just because I had them. I had some stuff that occurred in my life, and it was going to have consequences, was going to come out in behaviours. So you start to shed all that stuff. The more light you put on it, the more that you step into it, the more that you say, wow, this was an experience in my life. This is the impact that it's had. And, and I definitely had to make choices to move from those habits that I'd learned, because they're just habits, and habits can be changed. The experiences have never gone away and will never go away. And I'm always going to be surprised when stuff comes up, but, with full awareness now. So when that anger comes, I ask questions. Ask questions. And it doesn't mean that you want to agree with the other person or you're trying to change your mind in some way. It just means you're trying to find clarity. You're trying to find clarity in those moments where it's clouded. And anger does. It clouds your thinking. It clouds your behavior. So ask questions. And that's what I've done. I've continually asked questions. The most questions that I have asked are the ones that I ask of myself. When I have those out-of-body experiences, I think, oh, what's that about? Through love, anything is absolutely possible. I also want to share with you a meditation event that I'm running on Friday night. I can feel it. I don't know if you can, but I can feel, the separateness that we are currently living in. And I'm not just talking about the physical, I'm talking about the energetic separateness as well. And we need to unite. As people, together, we are stronger. And that does not mean that we have to agree, because you've heard part of my story now. You know some of the cliff notes. We're not going to agree on everything, and nor does us being unified require us to. So this meditation is for everybody, wherever you're coming from in the current situation, whatever your beliefs are. This is about uniting us to have, aligning that vision of freedom, of connection, of love, and coming from that place. So it would be beautiful to share that time with you. It's under the events on the business page. I'll also be popping up a link. You would have seen one yesterday on Tuesday, and you will see one tomorrow. I'm really passionate about this, and I'd love you to share it as well, so that we can all come together to unite. Let's put my teacup down. So that we can all come together to unite and align our vibration with love, and send that out to the world, because that's truly, in my deepest heart and soul, my belief is what the world needs right now. More love. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. And if anger is something that sits below the surface, perhaps you considered having a short fuse. Like if you're really passionate about things, and sometimes there's no way of you getting some, I don't like the term control, but you feel like you don't have that control in it, then there are a couple of ways that I can help with that. The first way is the emotional code. I'll pop a link in another post today, and it is an online 5-day course around your emotions, the 5 base ones. It will give you the purpose, and it will give you the question that sits in the emotion to help you find your way through those moments and to gain more calm and clarity, because that's the way through any experience in our life, is when we can have a calm heart and a clear mind. Thanks for sharing your beautiful time with me. I hope you're doing well. Please take care, and remember, be you, because there's only one of you, and feel good for being you.